I just saw Eileen. So today is October 15th, 2025. My name is Rich. I'm the host. I get to do an amazing idea that came to me, of all things in the shower, to be honest. In the shower. This is a shower idea, 911 Health Wealth Wednesday. And for those that are tuning in, our prayer before we started this was that you would have hope, that those that are hopeless would find renewed hope, as my six guests have found. We have women all over the United States. For some reason, Jeff could not find a male yet, but we have six anxious women to share their story. I'm calling this our first ever health concern specific panel. And the health concern today that we're focusing on is migraines. Now, those of you that have had headaches, you don't know what a migraine is. Uh, I'm now going to share a little bit about the background of migraines, but I've had migraines. I've had migraines as a teenager. I've had migraines later in life, and it puts you out. You cannot function. And I just want to share a little bit because I looked up, according to the World Health Organization, 12% of the world suffers with migraines. In the United States, it's 17% are women, and 6% are men. So again, of the world, 12% suffer with migraines, 17% suffer in the United States, and they're women from migraines. 6% suffer from migraines are men. I'm going to read a disclaimer before we get started. Products are lifestyle general wellness products and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease or medical condition. Success stories are anecdotal and based on personal experiences, viewpoints, and opinions. So we do not promise anything. Your body can heal itself given the right tools. And we don't have any physicians. I'm not a doctor. There's no physicians on this call today. In fact, I don't ever want to be a doctor. So my slang is themoneymd.com. I'm a financial doctor, but I fell in love with helping people with their health, because if you don't have your health, you have absolutely nothing. You can accumulate as much assets as you want as far as financial assets, but if you don't have your health, you are bankrupt. And we're going to talk about some health planning. And I'm going to start off with Eileen. I saw Eileen made it. Eileen, the bulldog out of Tampa Bay, Florida. And I'm going to go around the room, and Bianca will be next. I'm going to go alphabetical, Bianca out of Arizona. But we're going to start off with Eileen, and she's going to just share briefly, if you could keep to about a minute so that we keep our program not too long today. But just share a little bit about your challenge with migraines, how long ago and how long you had them, Eileen, and then what you discovered with the cellular regeneration patches, which I know have brought relief to all of our guests today, and we'll talk a little bit more about how those work. So,
Okay.
Eileen,
Hey, how you doing?
good.
Well, I been patching since the end of August. I want to say I think I started on the 26th of August, and within the first 10 days, I noticed changes that I couldn't understand, and I was feeling less anxious and not so achy, and I'm gonna try to stay compliant, but I do suffer from migraines since I was 4 years old. I'm 53 years old. The doctor has put me on a bunch of different medications that is just horrible. And one thing I noticed in the last 30 days is I'm prescribed. Can I say what I'm prescribed or no?
Sure, go ahead.
So they only give me 9 Imitrex per month, which are
Mhm.
100 milligrams, which is common. And I cut those in half because I get them more than 9 days a month. And I haven't had to take one migraine pill since I've been patching, and I'm not exaggerating. A lot of people know I own a Kava lounge, like a wellness Kava Kratom lounge, and I was drinking Kratom for my tea, for my Kratom tea for my orthopedic pain. And I was drinking that 4 times a day, some cans of Kratom, and now I use it once in the evening just because it's the evening. I'm not using it for pain, and I feel like I found something that I'm gonna be doing the rest of my life. It's
So,
actually
so,
improved my martial arts.
so just to allow people to catch up. from what they're hearing. So you've suffered with migraines from age 4 all the way to your current age is 53.
Yes,
And you've noticed those to subside when you started patching the end of August 26th of this year, right?
yes, sir. I noticed because I'm like, we're already like more than a month in, and I haven't had to take my medicine, and I get monthly like refills,
Yes.
and I haven't had to use it, and it's
That,
just absolutely incredible.
that's fantastic. In fact, I had a note to talk about Emitrex. It's one of the most prescribed medications for migraines. In fact, I interviewed somebody just in the last 2 weeks that's on this call that had over 33 years of constant migraines. She's off of that medication. And I just like to share the side effects of that medication for those that are viewing. Pain, tightness, pressure in the chest, throat, neck, or jaw, weak, dizziness, drowsiness, numbness, tingling, hot and cold flashes,
Yes,
nausea, upset stomach, unusual taste, unpleasant taste in your mouth, irritation or burning in the nose or throat, uh, heart problems, neurological problems, severe headaches, sudden numbness or weakness in your body, slurred or difficult speech, serotonin syndrome, a potentially life-threatening condition caused by too much serotonin in the body. Symptoms include irritability, confusion, agitation, hallucinations, increased blood pressure, seizures, severe allergic reactions, stomach intestinal problems. I could go on, but what I want to stress is that people need to be aware of the side effects from some of these medications. My story, I was off of all medications, and I didn't even realize the harmful side effects that were causing some of my issues for over 20 years. So we're gonna move on, and I appreciate Eileen. I'm gonna come back to you, Eileen, out of Tampa Bay, Florida. Uh, Bianca, Arizona, share a little bit about your challenges with migraines. Yeah, Bianca, please.
Hi, greetings, everyone. My name is Bianca, and I'm here from Arizona. First, I wanted to thank Rich and Jeff for inviting me over to share my story about how I relieved migraine. So basically, for about 13 years, I struggled with severe migraines that hit me like clockwork every month, like lasting 3 to 4 days straight during my period. These migraines were basically my body's like not so friendly reminder that my cycle was about to begin. And during those migraine days, I couldn't stand light, couldn't leave my room. It deeply like impacted my life and my family's life as well. But about 2.5 years ago, thanks to Pat, Carol, and Diane, I discovered a phototherapy patch from them. Essentially, I call it like a light therapy from doing all the research. And it actually changed everything. It changed my life, my family's life. And within a month of using these patches, my migraines vanished completely. And I'm not even kidding. It did vanish. And then ever since then, I've been migraine free. I thank the Lord for that, because you know how it is when you have migraine. It's so painful. And so I just had to share it with others. And so now I just keep on helping people who deal with the same struggle, hoping that, it will bring the same relief that it brought me.
Mhm.
Um, Also, I wanted to add to that, about these patches right here. It
Mhm.
didn't just relieve the migraine. They actually help fade an old C-section scar I had for 3 years then. And my skin started to clear up too. So, it's really a game changer in so many ways. And I truly believe it can change your life or, all the, people that have the same situation. And, I just wanted to make sure I share this with everyone.
Yeah,
So,
appreciate it.
yeah,
Appreciate it,
thank you so
Bianca.
much
Yeah.
for
Yeah, I was able to
hearing
interview
me.
you. It's been a little while since I interviewed you with your husband and your children. But yeah, the thing I want to stress on your story is that it affects the entire family. It just
Yeah.
doesn't affect you. The entire family are affected. So I'm going to ask Christy Willison out of Colorado to share her story here in a little bit. But since you brought it up, this is, what the patches look like. And those that are watching that have not heard about these patches, they're a non-transdermal patch. It's important to know versus like a nicotine patch being transdermal, a non-transdermal patch means nothing from the patch ever enters your body. And it's interesting because what's in this patch almost works like a mirror, reflecting our own body's light. And I didn't realize this. So, I love military movies. And when you see the infrared goggles, that's basically what happens if we were to look at ourselves in a dark. We would light up like a Christmas tree because we radiate off of our skin about 3 inches an infrared light. Interesting, because being a Christian in the Bible, it mentions light over 300 times in the Bible. It reflects our own body's light, and that elevates a peptide in our body that's proven to wake up our master cells. And those master cells start to deplete. At age 50, half of them go dormant, and by age 60, 65, we virtually have no active master cells like we do when we're younger. That's why the aging process starts to really take place at 60, 65. So it elevates a peptide, if you want to write this down, called GHK copper peptide. I learned from reading Dr. John Harmon, who's written 2 books of over 80 peptides our body has. That one peptide took the inventor 10 years to get it right, almost bankrupted the company twice. And that GHK copper peptide in our body is elevated, and it's proven to wake up those master cells, among other things. It's basically the fountain of youth. And that's what Bianca and these other guests have learned. And those of you that are on this call that were brought to this technology, introduced this technology, we encourage you to get back to that person. Get back to the person that introduced this technology. If it wasn't for Jeff Pattison, I would not be here today. I wouldn't be here telling about that. I wouldn't have a newfound passion, a new hobby. I spend 2/3 of my time doing financial planning, 1/3 helping people, and I can't shut up about this because of what it's done for me personally, as many of you know. Christy out of Colorado, if you'd share a little bit about how you heard about the patches and how it affected your migraines.
All right. As Rich just said, I'm Christy from Colorado, and I can't unfortunately remember the exact date that they started. I was sometime in my late 20s, and I am now 58. So I suffered for close to 30 years. I do remember the first office visit for the doctor who diagnosed me with migraines and wrote out the prescription med. I don't remember which one I was on, but man, my teeth felt like they were going to fall out of my head, and they didn't stop the migraine. So I got off of those pretty quickly, went to over-the-counter meds for several years. Like I said, I fought these for 30, went all the way through anything holistic to 2016. I had started CBD and THC eventually, just to try to help, because I was in bed, I was miserable, and they started out as 1 day, and they went up to 2 to 3 days as I progressed through the years of my life. And mine were environmentally caused and hormonal. I had both. So I had them frequently, sometimes twice a week. They were not fun. And being debilitated is not, like everybody's already said, it's hard on you, and it's hard on the family. It's hard on other people. And so I'm extremely grateful for a friend. She reached out and she said, I think you should try these. And that was almost 2 years ago. She introduced them to me in November 2 years ago. And so come December, it'll be a full 2 years on the patches, the first week of December. And as they progressed to get worse, they also progressed to get better. Once I started the cellular regeneration patches, I just kept noticing that they were improving. I went down from being knocked out to 2 to 3 days to just 1 day. And then I had experienced, before I couldn't have any screen light noise whatsoever. It was like my head was in a vice grip with somebody just standing there stabbing me with an ice pick. They just kept getting better. And then one day they became migraines, and then I was able to patch myself out of those migraines. And I can't tell you when the last time I had a migraine was, but they were.
Wow. That's awesome. So you've been patching now for about 2 years. And in your case, they started to reduce, and then to the point of no more. Yeah. anyone that has ever had a migraine, that is like, wow, exciting. I'm going to come back to you, Christy, with another question towards the end. But Pam out of Louisiana, Pam, I've been able to interview her and her amazing story with her daughter Kate, and hers a little bit different story. If you're there, Pam.
Well, mine, I'm not a person that remembers dates, but my very first trigeminal migraine began on a surgery date, August 31st of 2016. And for 2,400 days after that, I had a level 10 migraine every single day. So because I have a daughter that's a special needs full care person living with level 10 migraines in the face, which any stimulation, as you know, is something that just aggravates it even more. Until I had a package, a mercy package sent to me that just simply said, put them on, drink a big glass of water, and in 5 minutes, your level 10 will go down to a 2. And that's never happened because I did all the drugs. I did everything that they said to do from I I did everything where from medications to acupuncture with electricity into that trigeminal nerve, which I mean, my ears filled up with tears, and my family member finally said, enough. She can't take any more pain, and the doctor told me I was just being a baby. It's like, I'll I'll put you on the machine and we'll see who cries first. But once I patched, I could honestly say that 2,400 days of level 10 pain stopped that day. Now, the reason I'm saying this today is, and I don't have my glasses on because I want everyone to see, I am in a migraine right now. And for my migraines, it comes in from the base of the skull and it comes right across here. And you'll see that I have a giant purple bulge right here. That's the vein, that's the swelling of the trigeminal nerve. And so I'm in the middle of a migraine. The condition I have has no cure. And I saw 31 surgeons and ended with a brain surgery that allowed me to be in the wind. That was the best I could do. And they just told me, learn to live your life in this level of pain. So
Pam, if I could ask you, when did your migraine start today?
I've had this one for 5 days now. I went to Texas last week and I was in a building that when the air condition kicked on, something in my face just exploded. I still have all the triggers that can
Mhm.
start it. I've not had, the first day I patched was the last time I had a go to bed migraine until 5 days ago.
Yeah,
And I've been in a loop now, and I'm not in bed. I'm not in the dark. I don't have a blanket over my head, but I am in pain right now.
sure.
I'm tolerating it because I am patched, and I've patched very specifically for a trigeminal migraine. Um,
Are you on any medications for your migraines?
no.
No. Okay. When did that stop? When did you stop taking medications for migraines?
Well, I kept going to the doctor and playing the game because in Louisiana, if you stop pain management doctors, if you ever need medicine again, they think that you're drug shopping.
Hmm.
So I played the game for a long time, but I, the bags of medication are just stacked up. Um, I'm not
So,
against medication, and I don't think anybody should be running from it if they need it. Absolutely, that is what you have to do to survive in your life. But the patching has made my life, I can handle my life now with patches and sensible and hydration. I'm not in the position I was in before.
yeah, the thing that we're stressing today is that first and foremost, people take medication to help their side effects. And then before you know it, like Sherry's, who's coming up next out of Indianapolis, Indiana, who I just interviewed, you're on 22 different medications. So we have an alternative that's 100% natural, nothing enters the body, that has zero side effects. Or I should say zero bad side effects. The side effects are amazing. Migraines can go away. You can reverse your age scientifically, on and on and on. In my case, it balanced my hormones. I got off of testosterone that I had been using every 4 to 5 months, surgically implanting into my buttocks, and then doing it all over again in 4 to 5 months. I did for 13 years, and it's not fun. So we have a natural alternative. Thank you, Pam, for sharing. We'll come back around. Sherry out of Indianapolis, who some of you may have missed my interview. It's probably one of the top interviews I've done, and I've done about 100 in the last 2 years. Sherry, you were a long time sufferer of migraines. If you'd share a little bit about your story.
So I have had migraines since for 33 plus years. They were absolutely debilitating. Mine were triggered from lack of sleep. I've always had trouble sleeping. So that would be if I had a bad night of sleep, it would trigger it and most definitely would have a migraine. Stress, been through a lot of different stressful things in my life. That would be a migraine trigger as well. Forgetting not to eat, or forgetting to eat, I should say, and different scents. Continuous loud noises. Those are my main triggers. And I was on a cocktail of a combination of 4 different medications, depending on the severity of, like, if I saw the floaters coming on, I would take this pill. If it came on suddenly to where I didn't have access to that and it was a full-blown migraine, I would take this. It was a trial and error of many years. Finally did find a little bit of a sweet spot. I did a monthly injection, and for the most part, we're under control. Would have one occasionally here and there. But within a month of patching, I decided to, within actually 5 days, I had a migraine from patching. But looking back now, I was drinking Diet Coke, nothing but Diet Coke, went cold turkey with that the day I started patching. So I think a little bit was detoxing from the caffeine and plus everything else that was going on. So since that day, I have not had any migraines. And that day that I did have migraines, I did use the patches and it subsided.
And how often, Sherry, would you have your migraines over those 33 plus years?
Gosh, it depended on what was going on in my life. Stressful. I mean, if it
Yeah.
was during my stressful time in my life, then it was pretty significant. I would say
Was
2
it
to 3 times.
common weekly or?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And Eileen that was saying that she could only get the 9 pills of Emitrax. I feel her pain on that one. That was me as
Mhm.
well. Insurance would only pay for so many of them. And then I eventually, and sometimes they wouldn't work, and they then went to prescribing the injection of the Emitrax. So I was on that one for a while. So it's just been trial and error over the years. And like I said, they pretty much were under control for the most part over the last year or so. But after a month of patching, I eventually weaned myself off of the migraine medicine as a whole and have not had to take it. And I've been patching for 4.5 months now. So, and I'm happy to say I'm off my 22 pills in general. So
That's tremendous. Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Sherry.
you're welcome.
Cheryl,
Uh,
our last on our panel here today. Cheryl is out of Arizona, and share a little bit about your migraine struggle and
sure.
what took place and how quickly did they start to subside or go away, and if you're still having them. Yeah.
Well, I think my story is just a little bit different. I lived in Illinois until I was about 55. And from the earliest time I can remember, I would have significant migraines anytime we had a pressure front change, which meant that anytime we had rain, snow, just anything that would happen to change in the weather, I would have a debilitating migraine. Didn't work well with working, but I plowed through and would oftentimes work for 3 or 4 days, with my wastebasket by my side, because of course everybody knows nausea and lights. I kept the lights down in my office because anything would trigger it. if I could crawl into bed and sleep for 3 days and try to get through it. Nothing knocked them. And we had significant weather changes in the Midwest. So in 2013, we made the decision to move to Arizona. And I had retired and was thrilled to be able to do that. Got to Arizona and I thought, hey, my migraines are gone. This is great. Well, that was before monsoon season started here. Monsoon season came in and all of a sudden, boom, migraines were back like with a vengeance. And at that point, since I was retired, I could crawl into bed and sleep for 3 or 4 days and let them go away. But that was prior to patching. 7 months ago, I discovered the patch from a dear friend, and I was anticipating a really bad year this year with our storm front that came through. I don't know if you've seen on the national news.
Oh yeah.
We've had some really crazy rains here.
Oh yeah. Arizona's gotten
We did.
Yeah, lots of water.
And the first time we had the rain come through, it was a couple days into it, and I looked at my husband and I said, wait a minute, I don't have a migraine. It was like a real eye-opening experience. I didn't have to use any, a significant number of patches. I was able to just power through with what I had. And
again, Cheryl, if I interrupt you, when did you start patching this year?
7 months ago. Yeah.
7 months. Okay.
7 months.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And so we just got through our biggest round of storms to date, and not a drop of a migraine. It was wonderful. And I've just been able to be outdoors and walking and, feel wonderful because these patches are magic. They are scientifically magic.
I'm going to ask forgiveness for those that I said I'd come back around the room, because I'm going to ask you, Cheryl, if you would, because I just learned last minute your daughter every single day suffered with migraines from age 20, and she's now 27.
37 now.
37. Okay, 37. So
every day.
Yeah.
When she turned 17, migraines really hit hard. She was at every physician's office in the state of Illinois. Medications, some of them changed her personality for a while. Finally, she just looked at me and said, I give up, Mom. I can't do it. I'm just going to have to power through, and I'm not taking the meds. And so we, after I started using the patches, I said to my daughter, look, I think we can help this. And she kind of rolled her eyes and said, sure, Mom, I doubt it. 20 years is not going to change overnight. I kid you not, within 10 seconds, we had her migraine completely gone. And
wow.
It still brings me, a lot of joy, a lot of tears, because it makes me very happy for her not to suffer. Whenever she feels one come on, because she still has some. She's only been patching for about 3 months. And, it's so heartwarming to know that she can live her life and be free of these. And, now the minute anything starts to trigger it, she's got those patches on. Doesn't happen every day now, though. She's, it's a wonderful thing.
Well, and that speaks to those that are listening that have children that suffer with migraines. And I really wanted you to share that story because of that. And my heart goes out for anybody that suffers with migraines. But as a parent, it's just compounded when you see your children hurting. So thank you for sharing that, Cheryl. I would just like to encourage those that are on this, that are listening now or in the weeks, months, and years to come. May even see this here on YouTube, because this will go out on YouTube. 911HealthWealth is our YouTube channel. To go back to the person that introduced this technology, this is marketed. The inventor is a genius, folks. This is marketed through word of mouth. And you walk in Walgreens, you'd walk by this, you'd never know what it was, how it worked. You wouldn't trust it, right? I wouldn't have trusted this. I was a 2-month skeptic if I didn't trust Jeff. And through that, my life's been transformed. And I believe it's really important to pay that forward and help others. And that's what I'm doing. We're going all around the United States. We've driven 50,000 miles since June of 24, all over. We've gone to 12 countries. This is in 82 countries. This has independent clinical studies. This has over 150 global patents. This is the real deal, folks. The real deal. So what we like to do is we like to find out, in addition to migraines, what are your other health concerns? I like to know what your top 3 health concerns are, and I take good notes. And then we put together or whoever introduced you a wholesale package. And depending on if it's just you or you and another person, if it's just you and another person, or if it's a business, we have physicians using this technology. We have health and wellness clinics that are using this technology. We can customize it based on what your individual needs are. So we have to ask some questions, and we set up your own site. We give you a username and password that's specific to you, and we hold your hand. We lock arms with you during this health journey, all the way from the start to the finish. Jeff has, I help support live Zoom every week to educate. The education in the first 90 days is really important, because if you're looking at this and you believe that it's a quick fix, you might as well just save your money. Some of you will respond very quickly, like some of these ladies have, and that's about 50%. The other 50%, it's going to take time. We didn't get to where we're at in our health overnight, and don't expect it to go away overnight. You need to invest, as the inventor says, a minimum of a month per decade of age. So if you're 60, invest 6 months into your health. We all can afford it. If you don't know how to afford it, I'm a certified financial planner. I'll look at your cash flow, and I will find a way that you are wasting money and redirect it to your health. I promise I will do that for you. I will also promise you, if we can't find a way, I will partner with you on this journey. I will partner and invest in your health with you. If that has to be done, I will do it, but I will not pay 100%. You have to have skin in the game. And that's what I've learned in the last 2.5 years. So I want to thank you all for coming. Future panel discussions, get ready. Weight loss, ringing in the ears, anxiety. Thank God I'm off of all anxiety medication after 18 years. Neuropathy, big one. And we're going to also talk to people that have canceled their bone-on-bone knee surgeries. There are other options, folks, that are 100% natural. Now, my orthopedic financial planning clients aren't going to like me to say that, but I'm here to tell you, we've had some cancellations. So which would you prefer, a knee replacement or putting a non-transdermal patch or two on your knees? Wow. Scientifically proven to regenerate cartilage. Check it out in the coming months. We'll be having a panel discussion on that topic. So I'm going to sign off. Those are on a call today. Hang around, because I know you want to ask some questions to these ladies. And I'm going to go off of Facebook, and then we'll close our recording, and we'll open up for questions. And be right back. One moment. Hold tight.